Welcome everyone to the Western Canada MedTech Showcase. My name is Wendy Hilbert and I'm the President and CEO of Life Sciences BC. On behalf of Life Sciences BC, Bio Alberta, and the Bioscience Association of Manitoba, I'm pleased to welcome you to this webinar. Western Canada has a thriving MedTech sector, and today we are showcasing a number of our companies to allow them to profile their technology. We hope you enjoy this presentation and look forward to connecting with you at the conference. Before we start, I just wanted to read through the disclaimer. These presentations contain forward-looking statements which are made pursuant to the safe harbor provisions of the U.S. Security Litigation Reform Act of 1995. So now for the presentations. Our first presentation is from ARC Medical Devices, and I'd like to welcome Chris Springate, the CEO, to join me to take us through his presentation. Chris.
Good morning. Thanks, Wendy. ARC is a clinical stage company. We're developing a first-in-class liquid medical device that prevents surgical adhesions. Surgical adhesions are unwanted scars that form internally following common surgical procedures. Surgical adhesions cause pain, suffering, organ dysfunction, infertility, and death. Ironically, the only way to treat a surgical adhesion after it forms is to have a second surgery to cut the adhesions apart. And this is a very expensive surgery. And thus, surgical adhesions cost both payers and hospitals significant costs. Surgical adhesions are a large unmet medical need. So currently, the most efficacious products are small barrier films. At the end of an abdominal pelvic surgery, they're placed between the tissues and they work great because they provide a physical barrier that prevents the formation of surgical adhesions. However, they only prevent adhesions in the very small local area to which they're applied. The challenge is that there is a huge surface area within the abdominal pelvic cavities, and surgeons can't predict where these adhesions are going to form, and thus, small barrier films fail to prevent most adhesions. There are some non-barrier liquids. They flow throughout the entire abdominal cavity, but since they don't form a barrier film, they also fail to prevent most surgical adhesions. ARC has overcome the failures of these current products that are on the market. We have the only liquid medical device that flows throughout the entire abdominal cavity, forms a film throughout the entire abdominal cavity, and then prevents adhesions again throughout the entire abdominal cavity. As you can see in this video, as a liquid medical device, it's easily applied in an open laparotomy or a micro-laparoscopy procedure. Following application, the liquid immediately flows throughout the entire abdominal area. And as you'll see here, it then forms a thin temporary film that prevents the formation of surgical adhesions. The product is then safely excreted over about 7 days, and the patient heals normally. Great. Our product in the US is regulated as a Class 3 medical device due to its physical and mechanical action. We have compelling non-clinical efficacy data in surgical adhesion models in rats, rabbits, pony foals, and adult horses, including in multiple surgical indications, so pelvic, abdominal, thoracic, cardiac, spine, and tendon. And we've shown superior efficacy when going head-to-head against 3 of the top marketed products. We're currently excited that we're conducting a randomized controlled volume escalation abdominal pelvic safety clinical trial in healthy volunteers. Importantly, what we've shown is that our product at higher volumes than what was efficacious and superior compared with current products is safe in humans. We've manufactured 3 GMP products. All of these 3 GMP batches, all of these batches of the device are in use in the current clinical trial. Worldwide, top key opinion leaders both design and oversee the execution of our clinical trials. We're obtaining guidance from additional surgeons, from the US FDA, from payers and hospitals on the design of our upcoming pilot surgical patient efficacy clinical trials, and we're ensuring that we obtain the health economic data that are required for reimbursement. We have a robust patent portfolio with patent protection that we believe will cover our products through 2039. In addition, we're excited to let folks know that we've done a license deal with a very large Japanese pharma for Japan with excellent terms. In summary, our product is poised to replace films, gels, and liquids in both the laparoscopy and laparotomy, pelvic and abdominal markets, and be first to market in knee replacements. We're now seeking $25 million to fund 3 US pilot surgical patient efficacy clinical trials in the following indications: pelvic, abdominal, and knee replacement surgeries. Contact us using the information at the bottom of the slide. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Congratulations on the progress you've been making on this. It's very exciting.
Hey, thanks, Wendy. We're excited too. Yeah.
Our next speaker is Precision ADM, and I'd like to welcome Martin Petrak, the co-founder and CEO, to come and present. Martin.
Hello. I'm just gonna.
We're just going to take a break for a minute as Martin gets his screen up.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate the opportunity to be able to speak today at the MedTech conference. And I want to share a little bit of our journey as it relates to a COVID-19 response in the last literally 150 days. I just wanted to give you a brief kind of history of our company. We were only founded in 2015 as a startup organization at the Orthopedic Innovation Center here in Winnipeg, Manitoba. We were founded and we grew into a manufacturing facility that was focused on additive manufacturing in both medical and aerospace. Back in 2017, we actually received our ISO 1345 manufacturing certifications. Later on, our aerospace certifications in 2018. Already in 2019, we were serial manufacturing products, spine implants using 3D printing titanium. And we're also making turbine vanes. So we're a company that is focused on advanced manufacturing with an inclination in both medical and aerospace. And then COVID hit. As you all know, aerospace definitely fell off the planet in terms of work and opportunities for services and manufacturing, and our medical business as well did the same thing. We ended up, a lot of our clients ended up stopping the requirement for some of their products that they needed delivery. As we know, elective surgeries started falling off at that point in time. All the hospitals shut down. So we became all of a sudden a point company for even the health authorities to look at sourcing other types of PPE and different products. So we very quickly decided that we needed to pivot and use our existing capabilities, technologies, and engineering expertise to follow how can we actually be part of the supply chain, not just being a conduit of supply sources from international sources. So local innovation was definitely required, and Precision ADM decided to pivot to help in the COVID-19 pandemic supply chain. We then could use and leverage our existing expertise into medical device manufacturing, focused on PPE and other products such as 3D printed nasopharyngeal swabs for COVID-19 testing, which most of everybody here probably knows what they are by now. N95 reusable respirators, designing our own new technology to bring to market in Canada, and disposable medical procedure masks. I'm going to focus on our nasopharyngeal swab today. So in March, we decided to pivot to something that we understood very, very well, and that was 3D printing. We were printing in metal for medical devices, and we decided to focus on a new type of biocompatible resin that could be formed using UV curable light into a 3D object, and that 3D object was a nasopharyngeal swabs. It challenged our team over the last 150 days And now we are the first company to be approved by Health Canada in Canada. And there's a second company now that's also approved using a 3D printed nasopharyngeal swab. So I guess when you start manufacturing swabs, it requires obviously high volume of manufacturing. 3D printing is not known as a high volume technology, but this was a rapid and robust technology to be used in relatively high volumes when you design a 3D printing farm. And that's what essentially we ended up doing, investing in over 100 systems, soon to be over 150 systems for manufacturing these swabs, where we can actually manufacture up to 300 swabs per machine every 24 hours. We can actually do that in less that much time, but we don't like to use that just in terms of the amount of uptime and downtime of our machines. We focus on having roughly 13-hour builds per day. We ended up being the first in the country to 3D print a swab. Now we've obviously trademarked it to a CAN swab. It's a Canadian-based solution where we are now manufacturing 160,000 swabs every week, and we could actually manufacture up to 500,000 swabs with 3D printing every week. So when it comes to this technology, the ability to rapidly respond to a technology, 3D printing with the proper quality management system can become a medical device in under 100 days under these conditions. And so this is just to kind of give you an idea of our setup in one of our Class 7 clean rooms that we have at Precision ADM, where we've already delivered, after we got our approvals, over 250,000 swabs to Manitoba, and we are now making millions for the government of Canada to help Canadians with COVID-19 testing. And at this point in time, we're looking at obviously growing this, and where other companies such as Mexico, Europe, and Australia are also looking for swabs and actually looking to our technology for basically adopting it, using it in terms of both an individual swab that's sterilized as well as a swab kit. And that's our story for the last 150 days. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. Very interesting. You are one of the many companies that have been able to successfully pivot and take some amazing technology to help the COVID-19 response. Congratulations to you and your team.
Thank you very much.
Our next speaker is from Kubresa Inc., and it's Manjari Murthy. She's the product manager, and Manjari, thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. So I'm just going to share my screen. Uh-oh. I just hit the wrong thing. There we go. Can everyone see that?
Yep, we're good.
Oh no, sorry. Okay, there we go. So thank you so much, Wendy and Ryan, for giving me the opportunity to speak today. So like you mentioned, my name is Manjari Murthy, and I'm the product manager at Kubresa. So Kubresa is a Winnipeg-based medical imaging company that specializes in PET inserts for MRI scanners. And today I want to talk to you about our newest product, the Brain PET, which is the world's first clinical specific PET insert for an MRI scanner. So diseases of the brain are one of the leading causes of death and disability globally, and they carry an extremely heavy socioeconomic burden. Some of the most common diseases of the brain include Alzheimer's disease and other dementias, movement disorders, epilepsy, and brain tumors. Brain imaging is a key part in the diagnosis, treatment, and management of these diseases of the brain. And two of the most common modalities used for brain imaging are positron emission tomography, or PET, which images function in the brain, and magnetic resonance imaging, or MRI, which images structure. However, viewing very fine details in the brain can be a challenge, even using the most state-of-the-art combined PET MRI systems. and therefore inadequate detail may be gathered, and medical diagnosis, treatment, and management may be very challenging. So this is where the brain PET comes in. Excuse me. The Cubrasa Brain PET is a specialized brain-specific removable retrofit for an existing MRI scanner. It has far superior performance than state-of-the-art combined PET MRI scanners. So for example, the sensitivity of our system will be 2 to 3 times higher than that of these state-of-the-art scanners. And the spatial resolution of the images gathered using the brain PET will be 2 to 3 times higher than those gathered by these state-of-the-art systems. So you can imagine that a physician will now be able to see details in the brain that are smaller than a grain of rice. The system is also compact and easy to store, which is in contrast to traditional systems that are bulky, whole body, and fixed in place. And finally, if interest to the medical devices community, it's also low cost. So at around $1 million, it is 7 times less than what you would pay for a traditional combined PET MRI scanner. So this is an image of the first prototype of our brain PET device, and it is on the bed of a traditional MRI scanner. Early testing is currently ongoing at our partner sites in Canada and abroad, and I'm very excited to tell you that we are receiving very positive early results at the moment. So this video here shows a volunteer lying supine within the brain PET and being slowly inserted into a traditional MRI scanner. So as you can see, the patient is lying much in the way that they would be lying if they were getting a regular head MRI scan. They're comfortable, and the operator is able to use the system with ease. So the brain PET has the potential to have great impact in the monitoring and treatment of a number of diseases of the brain. So for example, it may play a role in the diagnosis and management of Alzheimer's disease by helping doctors to diagnose the disease and treat it earlier, which has been shown to lead to better clinical outcomes. It can also be involved in the therapy monitoring for brain cancers, allowing doctors to identify the best treatment for each individual patient and thereby maximize clinical outcomes. It could be used in the preoperative planning for epilepsy surgery, allowing surgeons to identify areas of function such as those related to movement or motor function, and thereby avoid those during surgery and maximize outcomes again. And more broadly, it can be used for the clinical management and understanding of diseases such as Parkinson's, addiction, pain, and ALS, and just among a few. So to sum, the brain PET is a revolutionary system, the first system in the world, first clinical system in the world to image the head specifically using a PET scanner inserted into an MRI scanner. And we at Cubrasa believe that it will change the scope of the study and clinical management of diseases of the brain across the world. For more information, you can contact me at the information below. And thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. That's super exciting. And I look forward to following your journey. Okay, our next speaker is from Fluid Biotech, and I'd like to introduce John Wong, co-founder and CEO. John, over to you.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, Wendy. I'd like to share our story with you. I'm just going to share my screen here. Thank you. Fluid Biotech is a medical startup company based in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. We are developing the next generation of stents, implantable devices to cure vascular disease. I am the co-founder along with my partner. We are the inventors of the technology as well as medical experts. My name is John Wong. I'm co-founder and CEO. I'm also a neurosurgeon at the University of Calgary. I trained in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, as well as at Yale University. And most recently, I completed my MBA at Wharton. My co-founder is Dr. Alam Mitha. He is president and CTO. He's also a neurosurgeon and professor here at the University of Calgary. Importantly, he's also a biomedical engineer, and it's out of his research laboratory that we have developed this innovative technology. We have developed the world's first dissolving flow diverting stent. And I know this is a mouthful, but this is a disruptive technology that heals blood vessels at lower risk and cost. Stents have revolutionized medicine. Stents are implantable devices that we can feed into blood vessels using tiny wires and tubes. After a stent is deployed, the stent allows for blood to flow normally into normal areas of the brain, but it slows down blood flow inside of an aneurysm. This slow blood flow allows the blood vessel, the aneurysm, to clot off and then slowly shrink over time. As opposed to current metal stents, ours is made out of polymer, so it disappears over time, thus allowing the blood vessel to behave normally and physiologically. So our unique stent solves many needs. There are about 6 competitors out in the marketplace, 6 flow diverting stents, and they're all made out of metal, all made by the major medical device manufacturers. Ours is the only bioabsorbable flow diverting stent. And this allows for non-invasive testing because current metal stents cause problems on MRIs and CAT scans. Doctors are forced to order invasive testing. This poses greater risk to the patient as well as increased costs to the system. So the fluid biotech absorbable stent removes this disadvantage. As well, because our stent is dissolvable, it disappears. And therefore, over time, the patient does not need to be on long-term blood thinners, and therefore they are at lower risk of internal bleeding and other disadvantages that are seen with the current metal stents. We look at our technology as a foundation of a platform. We're brain surgeons, and therefore we're concentrating on brain aneurysms. But stents can be used in many other areas of the body, including near the heart, as well as in other areas such as the kidneys or in the leg blood vessels as well. The polymer itself that we have utilized is a well-accepted material, and there's no reason that you cannot actually also embed medication within the stent and therefore allow for drug elution for targeted medication delivery. We look at our company as having multiple products in the pipeline. We are developing the bioabsorbable brain stent, and we are now beyond prototyping in the middle of preclinical testing with animal models. We are also developing a proprietary stent delivery system and contracting with a company in the Minneapolis area to develop this. We have filed a patent around the drug elution aspect of our stent, and we are already developing other adjacent applications of our technology and developing a stent for the aorta, the major blood vessel next to the heart. So we look at our company as having a number of unfair advantages. The founders are expert neurosurgeons, respected in their domain. We have a pedigree and experience in utilizing stents on a clinical standpoint, as well as developing it from a research background. We are publishing peer-reviewed articles in respected medical journals that validate our technology. We have protected our technology with multiple patent filings, including an issued patent in Canada, as well as in international jurisdictions. And obviously, medical devices need to be proven by clinical trials. We have robust experience in running clinical trials at our own stroke center, and this will then allow for future approval by the governmental regulatory agencies. Thank you very much. I'd be happy to speak to you further to share our story with you. Thank you, Wendy.
Thank you, John. That's super exciting to see innovation as it relates to stents, which have been so critical in patient care for so long. It's exciting to hear about this. I would now like to welcome our next speaker, Sept Nakar from NIAID Lab. Sept, would you please join us? There you are.
Hi, Wendy. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for the opportunity to speak here. So I'm just going to share the screen right away.
Perfect.
So, all right. So, hi, like Wendy said, I'm Sept Nakar from NIAID Lab. We're specializing in data connectivity, enabling smart clinics. Just to give a little background, we're a small startup that have incorporated in February of this year, so very recent. Our work has been mostly a result of research and development that has been mostly Cisco funded through the University of Alberta with Professor Pierre Boulanger. So I'll just go off and describe what we do. So before going off and describing the product itself, I just want to talk to you about a couple of problems that we have in modern healthcare. So what we have is physician visits are infrequent in rural areas, diagnostics are limited and time consuming. There's a huge problem with data collection, management, and effective connectivity to EMRs. So causing a lot of overhead to physicians by manually inputting things into their EMR. Also, the current clinics have high overhead cost and inefficient processes. The solutions that we're thinking this are having a centralized and integrated platform that is able to provide personalized oversight by health professionals, a system that can expedite triaging, monitoring, and patient data, and data connectivity that is AI powered, data analytics driven, enabled automated integration with EMRs. So just by having an automatic integration to EMRs can save on average 320 hours for each physician per year, which is a huge number for them. And to the left side is an example of the kind of platform that we have, just a brief interface of a patient and physician having a virtual conference, but that is more biometric driven. That has all of the different kind of glucose, ultrasound, and stethoscope readings. So our solution is labeled as MedRoad, and what we're doing is creating a low cost and low infrastructure virtual clinic. It's disrupting, enabling, or enhancing, and even replacing, with some respects, the traditional clinical procedures. An AI-powered and data analytics-driven fluid data integration into the healthcare system, because we have a lot of data that we collect, but unfortunately we don't do much with it from a clinical standpoint. And I think for us, one of the main things that we saw is that we have a reactive healthcare system instead of a preventive or early intervention method. So reactive one is where I don't go to the clinic unless I feel something is wrong with me. So when something is wrong, then I go to see a clinician, as opposed to utilizing the data that we collect day to day to actually create predictive modeling, which is what we're doing through the MedRoad platform. How does the system work itself in simple terms? We have a bunch of devices that range from low-level devices like Bluetooth-enabled thermometer, blood pressure cuff, oximeters, to something that changes the camera view, so otoscopic camera, Bluetooth-enabled stethoscopes, and higher-level things like portable ultrasound, ECGs, and blood analyzers. All of these are connected to our MedRoad app right here in the phones. That the data is transferred automatically to the MedRoad servers that can connect to EMRs automatically, and at the same time enabling a platform here that shows the data analytics, data analysis, and also enables virtual consultation that is again biometric driven between the patient and the physician. So a system like that, what we're looking at is to enhance the management of assessment, triaging, and monitoring of patients through MedRoad platform. Just a brief little study. So a very common remote patient monitoring systems, not as complex as MedRoad, have been seen in past studies to give an ROI to the overall healthcare system of 542%. So saving about 7,000 or 1,100 per patient for the hospital visits or clinical visits. And this kind of remote patient monitoring, if it's enhanced with MedRoad, it would create much more saving for the overall healthcare system. What we have here is what the big vision, what we're trying to aim for, is a model of smart clinic hubs that can be put around or enhancing the current clinics and the current health infrastructure to turn it into a smart clinic where people can check where to go, which hub to go to. They can check very briefly into the app. There's no wait times required. They can go in, do their automated kind of the biometric and the vital signs. And from there on, as soon as the data is imported, it does an analysis on it, gives any personalized alerts, and that enables the visit to be more context driven between the physician, which saves time. All of this, what we're trying to do at the moment is have the MedRoad virtual clinic and the smart clinics connected between different or health organization to create a future of digital healthcare ecosystem. So at the moment, we have connected with a rural clinic, a hospital, and a senior care facility, and we're in conversation to connect with one of the pharmacies to create this kind of a digital space within the healthcare system, utilizing the MedRoad data analytics-driven and AI-driven system. These are our partners. So it is a research that was Cisco research funded. And right now we're also running on Cisco sponsorship. And these are some of our partners that we worked in the past and we still work with. This is our team, Dr. Pierre Boulanger, Talwinder Puni, and myself as one of the co-founders and CEOs. I hope you enjoyed this. And if you want to learn more, please feel free to contact me at the number here. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That was really interesting. And I think everybody agrees that bringing data connectivity together has huge impacts for the healthcare system, not only patient care, but also the cost structure. So really interesting and good luck as you continue on that journey.
Thank you, Wendy.
Our next speaker is Amir Nazad. He's the Director of Critical Care Devices.
Thank you, Wendy. I appreciate that for having me in this journey. So you see the screen, right?
Yep, you're good.
Okay. So Critical DX is an Alberta-based company which is presenting the next generation of the digital health monitoring system for in vitro diagnostic and also for remote health monitoring. So I am Amir Sanati-Nejad, the founding director of the Critical DX and also associate professor at University of Calgary. So there is a huge pressure on the regulatory agencies to approve rapid COVID testing, particularly for home testing, but many of the diagnostic kits do not yet meet the key requirement of the safety and effectiveness considered by the regulatory agencies. This is when people of different countries are lining up hours for testing at COVID centers. In addition to diagnostic challenges, there are also burdens on healthcare system in order to remotely monitor infected patients that are isolated at home in order to have early monitoring of the disease worsening happening at home. There's also limited capability to determine when people are fully recovered and how the immunity fully happens in order to facilitate the business opening. So these are just a bunch of the serious challenges we are facing these days with COVID-19. So there is not really a solution now. So there is definitely need for a better rapid and on-the-spot testing and also for monitoring of a patient remotely from their home. Critical DX presents a universal digital health solution for both diagnostic and monitoring of COVID-infected patients. This digital health solution contains molecular kits, digital readout system, app, and cloud system for rapid and quantitative detection and monitoring of multiple target biomarkers. The kit can detect one or multiple markers quantitatively within 20 to 30 minutes, while data be available to patient and also for the healthcare system for further analysis and decision-making. The Critical present the DNA or RNA diagnostic kits for rapid detection of a COVID in less than 20 minutes, and also present the kit to monitor longitudinally cytokine and protein in the blood or saliva infected patient. So altogether, this product will target the needs of the worldwide COVID-19 requirement for rapid COVID testing and management. The COVID testing already have a market of $20 million. The technology itself is a combination of the capillary microfluidics and electrochemical biosensor, which automate the entire assay in a lab on a chip, where microfluidic taking care of the sample preparation steps like a cell separation, molecular extraction, while the electrochemical biosensors is taking care of the accurate target biomolecule capture and incubation on the electrodes. And the final steps of washing, non-specific bonding, and also probe release is done automatically for further biosensing purpose. So multiple step of data recording will enable accurate detection of the target molecule for different type of assays. Critica DX is presently validating clinically a few of the COVID-19 kits to meet the regulatory requirement. While Critica DX support the challenge of COVID-19, but it has a validated technology for the diagnostic and management of the central nervous system injuries, like mild traumatic brain injury, like MTBI or concussion, and spinal cord injury. So there are about 70 million people diagnosed with CNS injuries worldwide, where the market of diagnostic and management is about $75 billion. Critica DX solution is a digital health monitoring focusing on a lab-on-a-chip biosensor, which enable detection of the known protein as CNS injury biomarker using a finger prick or blood samples. CS Engineering digital health solution has demonstrated about 95% sensitivity and 90% clinical selectivity for diagnostic of sport concussion. This kit can also be used for longitudinal monitoring of a concussion recovery in order to determine when the patient is ready to get back to work or school without need to do any MRI or CT imaging. So Critica DX platform aims to have a huge impact primarily on the management of COVID-19 and support the opening of the businesses. And secondly, the monitoring kits help for digital health management of the patient with chronic and infection disease, with the brain injuries and neurodegenerative disease. The customized assays of critical facilitate miniaturization of a clinical trial by quantitative monitoring the efficacy of the therapeutics at home. Critica DX will also provide automated and accurate molecular assays customized for researchers to detect their target panel of markers. So join us to save patients with a better medical technology. So you can contact us at the Life Science Innovation Hub with the Critica DX.
Thank you very much, Amir. Very exciting. Lots of wide applications, it seems, for what you're developing.
Thanks,
Our next speaker is Scott McMillan, who's the CEO of Exco Inc. Scott.
Thank you, Wendy. Great to be here today.
Perfect.
Great. Yeah, so I'm Scott McMillan, co-founder and CEO of Exco. At Exco, we develop cutting-edge biometrics, movement, and cognition technologies to assess health and performance. Through innovation and collaboration, we focus on delivering products that empower patients and transform healthcare delivery through the use of real-time predictive health analytics. The first product I want to show you today is a novel biometric health patch that we are excited to launch in 2021. Designed specifically to give patients peace of mind at home and to better inform physicians in the booming virtual care market, the health patch delivers continuous vital sign measurements and insights when a patient comes down with symptoms of COVID-19 or other ailments. As an alternative to smartwatches and smart bands, the health patch is intended to be used for a few weeks at a time and will be priced accordingly. The patches will be sold online and in retail channels such as pharmacies. Exclusive to the patches is a patented AI high-performance health system on a chip that effortlessly remotely monitors the vital signs 24/7. It learns your baseline and detects trending or significant changes over time. It better filters out noise to yield higher accuracy and reliability. It preserves battery life, thus avoiding issues with recharging, and it miniaturizes the electronics into a tiny form factor. It fully supports audio to assess coughing, congestion, and speech patterns. Provides medical grade measures of blood oxygenation, heart rate, HRV, respiration, ECG, general activity, cognition, mood, and a true measure of core body temperature, not skin temperature like other wearables. And all of this data is fully supported by a bioinformatics and AI platform. The health patch is tremendous at 24/7 monitoring. However, for many diagnostic and rehabilitation applications, you will want even greater precision and insight. And for that reason, we developed Dash. Using Exco's groundbreaking motion analysis technology, DASH is the first easy-to-use, go-anywhere analysis system for the assessment of musculoskeletal injuries and concussions. Like million-dollar technology used by the NFL to track players on the field, DASH accurately measures the patient's true position, speed, and acceleration 100 times a second, while they perform sets of standardized rehabilitation and return to play assessments, including gait testing, running and sprinting, vertical as well as horizontal jumping, single leg stress testing for knee and ankle stress, and agility. And then specifically for concussions, DASH measures balance in a variety of stances, cognitive motor ability during dual task performance tests, and iPad-based cognitive testing looking at memory, executive function, and multitasking. With the health patch and DASH, we have easy to use yet precise biometric motion and cognitive assessment capabilities. Now our evolution in 2021 is to bring these great technologies together to form a fully integrated comprehensive assessment of patients with complicated health conditions. And that starts with frailty. We are proud to be collaborating with the Digital Supercluster, Kinduct, iClinic, and InDoc Research to help move healthcare out of the hospitals and to patients' homes by developing a fully interoperable frailty care system for the management of at-risk and moderately frail individuals. The system is comprised of 5 parts. First, a clinical assessment of physical and cognitive frailty leveraging DASH technology, which the end result is a complete understanding of frailty and fall risks so that a data-driven care plan can be implemented. Remote patient monitoring, leveraging our health patch technology for monitoring chronic diseases in an effort to prevent exacerbations and to slow the course of frailty. 3, a patient empowerment solution that motivates the at-risk and frail individuals to follow their care plan at home, resulting in greater adherence and ultimately improved health. And 4, a fully integrated patient management software solution for clinicians to better manage the frailty patient workload. Through APIs, the system seamlessly collects, analyzes, and visualizes the data coming in from clinical DASH assessments, the health patch, the patient empowerment app, and the clinic's EMR system. And the underlying platform is well-established bioinformatics and AI data platform that will enable greater understanding of frailty and accelerate innovation in the years ahead. I want to thank you for your time today. And if you're interested in any of our innovations, feel free to reach out, whether you are a potential customer, sales partner, collaborator, or investor. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Scott. That's super exciting and great to see all the collaboration that you have underway as you advance your solution. Our final speaker for today is John Lewis, co-founder and CEO of Nanognostics.
Wonderful, thanks, Wendy. It's a pleasure to be here today, and thank you very much for the opportunity to tell you a little bit about Nanognostics Precision Health. So, my name is John Lewis. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Nanognostics, also a professor of oncology at the University of Alberta in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Now, at Nanognostics, our focus is on the development of novel and non-invasive diagnostics tests to bring clarity to healthcare decisions. And we're really in a space, a really unique space right now. So despite our access to all this amazing biological data, so the omics, we know all about the proteins, the genes, and everything that are going on in our body, incredible amount of information. And really, the challenge really is there's no integrating diagnostic platform to combine, all this rich information with what we now have developed in artificial intelligence and machine learning to make simple decisions about our health. And so we've developed a platform called Clarity DX that is highly multiplexed, incorporates a lot of information. It's a diagnostic technology to detect clinical signatures in a couple drops of blood. And it does this by using a really novel source of biomarkers called extracellular vesicles, or exosomes, and combining this with an advanced machine learning approach. Now, you're probably wondering what extracellular vesicles or exosomes are. This is really important because diseases in our body or health situations may be happening in specific areas like the prostate or the bladder or muscle. What's important is, we don't want to do a biopsy of these tissues to get information. But fortunately, there are this biological entity called an extracellular vesicle. Now, every cell in our body are actually releasing tiny fragments of themselves into the fluid around them. And these then circulate throughout the blood and the urine, and we can easily detect them using advanced technologies. What's important is that in a single drop of blood, there are over 5 million EVs, which gives us a very robust source of biomarkers such as DNA, RNA, and proteins that we can use to make clinical decisions. Now, we've developed a proprietary technology to be able to detect these EVs or exosomes in just a couple drops of blood. It's called microflow cytometry. And using this, we can actually take either plasma or serum and interrogate it directly for these vesicles. And to do that, we can then look at panels of biomarkers that are associated with specific disease outcomes. In the case of oncology, we can detect, for instance, EVs coming from the prostate and see if there's a presence of prostate cancer, or more importantly, the presence of aggressive prostate cancer. And we've partnered with a diagnostic company called DynaLife in Edmonton to put our microflow cytometry instruments, validate them, and they're prospectively running our clinical validation trials in prostate and other cancers. So I mentioned that there are 5 million of these EVs in a single drop of blood. And you can imagine if we're looking at multiple biomarkers, say 4 biomarkers, we may have 20 million pieces of information from a single patient. So how do we make any sense out of it? We developed a very rigorous machine learning pipeline that allows us to quickly identify and isolate the most important parts of that information. And we use a nonlinear machine learning algorithm to then drill down to what's the most important information to provide a risk score that's directly related to a patient's risk of having a specific disease. And we find that by adding this machine learning approach, we can increase the accuracy of certain tests by over 10%. So a very significant improvement in accuracy. And this becomes very important. So this is a platform technology. Nanognostics is launching a variety of tests, but generally the way it works is that we take a cohort of healthy patients and a cohort of patients with a specific clinical condition, say prostate cancer, and we collect their extracellular vesicles, look at them through microflow cytometry, and develop, using machine learning algorithms, very specific signatures of disease. Now, the first test we're going to be launching early next year is called ClarityDx Prostate. It's a blood screening test to allow men who are suspected of prostate cancer to make a clear decision about whether to get a biopsy or not. This is really important because we have, a blood test called the PSA test that's very sensitive. Unfortunately, it's not very specific or accurate at predicting cancer, and men have to undergo a 12-needle biopsy to determine whether they have cancer. This test, we've done a prospective study in Albertan men. We find that it's over 3.3 times more accurate at predicting aggressive prostate cancer. And when deployed in the clinic, this should help men to avoid up to 40% of these invasive biopsies. Now, this is the first test in a suite of tests that we'll be releasing. We're working actively, given the pandemic, on a COVID-19 test that will predict whether an individual infected with the SARS coronavirus will develop acute respiratory syndrome requiring hospitalization and potentially ventilation. And we're also developing a suite of other tests focused on oncology and non-oncology areas that will leverage the information we have from the prostate cancer test so that we can get better clarity on a wide variety of diseases. So if you're interested in learning more, please visit us on our website at nanognosticsdx.com, or feel free to connect with me directly using the information. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you very much, John. Very exciting.
Thanks,
So that brings our webinar to a close. I want to thank you again for joining us, and thank you to all of our presenting companies. As you've heard, there's amazing innovation occurring in Western Canada. a huge breadth of technology and innovation that many people are working on and making great strides with. And that was just a small sample. I want to thank our presenting companies, from ARC Medical surgical adhesions to Precision ADM's COVID-19 nasal swab, to Cabrace's brain PET and Fluid Biotech's innovative stent, Nia's Labs specialty and data connectivity with their MedRoad platform, to Criticare DX's digital health tools, Exotech's integrated health patch and DAS solution, and finally Nanognostics Precision Health's groundbreaking diagnostic technology. Very, very exciting, and I am so proud to be part of the Western Canada delegation to learn about all of these amazing technologies. We look forward to meeting you at the conference. Please reach out directly to the companies. Their contact details are on the screen, or through the conference business partnering system, as all these companies are registered at the conference. On behalf of LSBC, BioAlberta, and the Bioscience Association of Manitoba, thank you again for joining us. We look forward to connecting with you at the conference. And as my final words, as Dr. Bonnie Henry says, be kind, be calm, and be safe. Thank you very much.